guys? Welcome to another edition of Strategy. I'm Christy Arnett for Card Player TV here with John Aguiar, also known as Fatal Error. How did you come up with that name anyway?
I was a computer science major in college when I started playing online, and when you're writing and debugging code, you get a lot of fatal errors, and I just, first site I opened up, it's like, what screen name do you want? I was like, fatal error, I didn't want to use like my name or something.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything better at the time. Nobody told me people would be referring to me in real life by that name at the time. So.
Exactly. Now you're in videos on Card Player TV. Fatal Error. No, it's awesome. Okay, so today we are going to talk about short stacking in a no-limit hold'em cash game. First of all, for those who don't know, can you explain what it is?
Short stacking is buying in for the minimum, usually 20 big blinds, in a cash game with the hopes of getting it in pre-flop with a better holding than your opponent, or exploiting certain edges you have using the dead money in the pot and your relative stack size. Basically, the same way pot odds work in hold'em tournaments, you basically apply those concepts to the cash games and find unexploitable edges.
What kind of player would you have to be to do that? Because it seems like if you were a skilled player, that's not advantageous for you because it takes a lot of the play out of it. So,
well, one of the advantages you have is if you're an underrolled player, you're able to play in larger games. For example, I used to short stack the 25-50, 50-100, and 100-200 blind cash games on PokerStars pre-UIGA, pre-Net Teller leaving the market, when 6 or 8 of those games would run at any one time, and they were very good games. And I would basically sit around and wait for, top 10 hands and shove over a raise pre-flop, and very loose players, players like Hallingold that come to mind, would call with hands as weak as 5-6 suited and just random garbage, just gambling because it was very little money to them. Okay. And the edge was incredible. I was making over $2 a hand in that game, whereas to make $2 a hand at 5-10 no limit, which is the applicable full stack buy-in, you would have to be a very, very, very good player playing your A game on that level with your other opponents.
Okay. Well, if you're at one of these tables and you see someone coming in, how do you combat a short stacking player?
Well, the first thing to do with combating a short stacker is when they're on your left, you can't open garbage hands anymore because they find themselves in very easy situations to reshove on you, where you're either folding too much and giving away money that way, or calling too much and giving money away that way. It's very important to just open with a nearly unexploitable range. Opening with an unexploitable range would have you playing too tight. But, you can't really open your suited connectors and other hands that you can't call a shove with, assuming they're playing correctly and reshoving you on you a lot, which they should be doing. Okay.
If you are short stacking and then you double up, then what do you do?
Well, that's rat holing, and that's something that a lot of people are really angry with. And what a player will do is, in a no-limit cash game, 40 big blinds is very uncomfortable to play at a table full of large stacks. It's nowhere near as profitable as the 20 big blind stack because you can't get it in pre-flop with that stack. So what they do is they just leave, they go to another table or whatnot, they come back in half an hour when they can buy in for 20 big blinds.
Okay, well, it seems like if you're going to do that, you kind of know that players are going to be upset with that. Why don't you just go to a different table where nobody knows?
Well, in the high-stakes games, there aren't enough tables.
Okay.
And basically, it's incredibly profitable. It's within the site's rules. And I really think that the sites actually need to do something about the rat holing rules. I did it myself when I was playing in these games. I was making way too much money not to. I couldn't pass up the edge. But the whole time I was saying, these rules are broken, but these are the rules that everybody lives by. Sites should definitely make players wait 2 hours to return to especially high-stakes games with their minimum buy-ins. But it's in the site's best interest to allow this too, because they don't want their players to go broke quickly, and then buying in for 20 big blinds at a time extends the lifetime of their bankrolls.
How prevalent is this happening in higher stakes games?
The higher stakes games really don't run anymore. No-limit cash games aren't very popular on the internet at this point. When they do, there are usually 3 or 4 short stackers, whereas when I started doing it myself, I was almost the only one at every single table. I got lost in the crowd at what really wasn't a big deal, but the problem was that people would railbird these games, and they were seeing how much money I was making in early 2007. And the copycats just came out of the woodwork, and before you knew it, half the table was short stackers. All the fish left because it wasn't any fun, and all it was a few good regs and the short stackers, and everybody was now effectively playing a 20 big blind stack. And that, in addition to the lack of money in the economy because of net teller pulling out of the U.S. market, really killed the large games online. Now all the short stackers are playing 1-2, 2-4, no limit. You'll see them playing 16 or 24 tables, and just playing very tight and shoving their big hands and printing a small amount of money.
Is it more profitable to be short stacking at a 6-handed table or a 9-handed table? Does it matter?
That really has to do with the player. If you can adjust, it doesn't really matter. You'd be making more money at 6 max, but theoretically you'd be playing less tables because it's harder to keep up. So, at a full ring table, you're just shoving a little less and playing a tighter range. I'd say the win rates are pretty similar, but people specialize, and obviously certain players are going to be better at one or the other. Yeah.
Now that you've built your bankroll, are you still short stacking at all? Or?
No, I transitioned from short stacking cash games to tournaments last summer during the World Series, because obviously 20 big blind play is one of the most important parts of a person's tournament game, because that's really where the final table is played. That's usually what the effective stacks are. So I haven't really short stacked cash games in probably over a year now. They're not as profitable anymore. People have adjusted.
All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by to talk about short stacking.
Thank you.
And I hope that now that you're playing tournaments, you are never short stacked. So thanks for stopping by. Chris Arnett with Jonathan Aguiar for Card Player TV.